Alright, we're going to take a look at factoring. So you know the drill, skip 2 lines, tear it to the margin and then straight down, label it factoring. And actually in this one you're going to do skip 1 line, go down, and then skip another line. So I'm actually just going to fix that real quick, because factoring is going to have like a couple of pages, and if you need another page, go ahead and make it. I am going to squeeze mine a little bit, so if again you have big handwriting, it's okay, just make another page after that. It's not a big deal. Now go ahead and cut this paper as small as you possibly can. Use some scissors or use a ruler like I'm doing. The reason why it's going to fit horizontal the top of your page. Alright, so go ahead and tape it in, staple it in, whatever you use. So let's look at an example. Let's say we are called to factor this. It's really simple. All you got to do is follow the steps. So we're going to look at these 2 problems right now. Alright, so step 1, copy it in standard form, blah blah. Alright, take out common factors. So this first one doesn't have a common factor. The second one does have a common factor of 3. And I know that because on that final term, 6 plus 3, 63, 6 plus 3 is 9, and 3 goes into 9. So looking at the first one, it says draw a 2x2 box. So I've gone ahead and drawn my 2x2 box. Always put the first term in the first box, the last one in the last one, just like we're doing. And then does it have 2 or 3 terms? It has 3, so you go left. It says multiply the first and the last terms to get 9. And then they add up to the middle, which is negative 10. So give me 2 numbers that multiply to positive 9 and add to negative 10. So you start 9 times 1. Oh, and that's what it is. And then how do I make it negative 10? Negative and negative. Because negative times a negative is positive 9. And then negative 9 minus 9 is negative 10. Alright, once you find those 2 numbers, you're going to put the middle variable and put them in the remaining box, and the order does not matter. Okay, so put them in the remaining box and go ahead and just make a note of that. Order does not matter. It doesn't matter which one you put where. So x squared, and then it doesn't matter. So let's put negative 9 and negative 1. Once you've done that, take out the greatest common factor horizontally. You see like that. So looking at horizontally on that first row, what's the biggest thing I can take out? Well, I can take out x squared, because they both have x squared and nothing else. Alright, then multiply a and c to give you that small a. So what x squared times x squared is x to the 4. Multiply those 2 to give you that last one. So what goes there? Negative 1, because negative 1 times x squared is negative 1. Negative 1 x squared. Then the last one, that times that, gives you what? So what do we have? Negative 9. Negative 9 times x squared is negative x squared. Then check the entire box. So really just check that last one. So negative 1 times negative 9 is positive 9. So I did that correctly. And then the numbers on that where a, b, and c, d are, those are your answers. So x squared minus 1, x squared minus 9 is your answer. And we're actually going to cover this in the next chapter, but there's a shortcut for that. It's called a difference of squares. And if you can take the square root of the first number, square root of the second number, and it's separated by a negative, it's the square root of the first, the square root of the last, and then plus and minus. Same thing with this one, it's the difference of squares. So square root of the first one, square root of the last one, and then plus and minus. And we're going to cover that in just a second, actually, on like 2 videos from now. Let's take a look at this one. So this one, remember we said we could factor out, right? So we're going to take out 3. So again, that's 63. How do you know 3 goes into it? Because when you do 6 plus 3, it's equal to 9, and 3 goes into 9. That works for 3 and 9, by the way. So taking out 3, you're going to have this, and I got to divide 63 because I'm not sure exactly how many times it goes. So after I divide, I find 21. So now it's factored out. Once it's factored out, does it have 3 terms? Yes or no? I guess I'm doing this again because you didn't see me divide it. Alright, so 3 terms, yes or no? It does. So we're going to go to the left. So you draw your 2x2 box. Put the first term in the first box, which is now going to be p squared. 3 is going to be in your answers, one of the factors. So now this is what's left, this parentheses. So p squared in the first box, negative 21 in the last box. And then we're going to multiply the first and last term together. 1 times negative 21 is negative 21, and then negative 4 is the middle. So 2 numbers that multiply to negative 21 and add to negative 4. What's that? 7 and 3. Okay, so 7 and 3, and then I need it to be negative when you subtract. So negative 7, positive 3, and that's going to give me negative 4 when you add them, and negative 21. Alright, then you put the middle term, so which is p. The middle variable rather, in the remaining 2 boxes, and then the order doesn't matter, however you want to put it. So I'm putting negative 7 and 3. I take the horizontal greatest common factor, so looking horizontal in the top row, I can take out a p and nothing else. Then this times that is p squared, so p has to be on top. Then on the bottom one, this times this is 3p, so it has to be 3. Then on the top right, p times something is negative 7p, so it's negative 7. And then last box, 3 times negative 7 is negative 21, so you did it correctly. So the answers are p plus 3, p minus 3. And again, don't forget that 3 that you factored out. Alright, what if you are given, instead of 3 terms, you are given 4 terms? So we're going to take a look at that example. This is a listening check. Color in the 0 in 20. Color in the 0 in 20. Alright, so looking at number 3, you're given 4 terms. So again, 2 by 2 box. Common factor, no common factor. 2 by 2 box. Alright, first term in the first box, so 10FG in the first box. Last term in the last box, so positive 27 last box. If you have 4 terms, okay, what it is just going to put the other 2 terms in the order that you see them. So this has to be in order. So go ahead and write down in order. And so it has to go negative 10FG, then negative 30F, and then negative 9G, and then positive 27. It has to be in order, therefore, terms. And then it's pretty much the same thing that we just did. So take out the horizontal common factor. I see an F in both, and I see a 10 in both. Alright, then 10 times something gives you 10FG. So 10 times it has to be G. And then something times G gives you negative 9G. It has to be negative 9. Then 10F times something gives you negative 30F. So that's going to be negative 3. And then use that to check the last box. Negative 9 times negative 3 must give you 27. You've got. And then the answers are right there outside the box. 10F minus 9 and G minus 3. So it's relatively easy, relatively quick. It just takes the guessing out of it if you're doing it the old way. Alright, so again, 2 terms. This time I'm going to show you how to find the 2 numbers without a calculator, because sometimes this can get really lengthy. Alright, so again, 2 by 2 box. First term in the first box, last term in the last box. And then you need to find 2 numbers that multiply to, okay, so again you have to do the first term times the last term. So 20 times 2, which is 40. So 2 numbers that multiply to 40 and add to negative 13, the middle term. And you're going to break this down. So 1 times 40, 2 times what? 20, 4 times, now I'm going to show you something that's really going to work. Okay, I'm just going to write all this down. You see, if you had a pizza and you cut it in half, you have 2 pieces now. And if that's 20, and then you cut the 2 pieces that you already have in half again, you'll have 4 pieces. If you have 4 pieces, that means basically you can take what half was and cut that in half. So 20 cut in half is 10. So 4 pieces is 10. And again, you can cut the 4 pieces in half to 8 pieces, and that cutting the 10 down would give you the answer for 8, which is 5. And that's how you can make this a little bit shorter for yourself. And it looks like actually that's what I'm looking for, because 8 and 5 is going to give me 13. And then play around with the signs, so it's going to be negative 8, negative 5. Put them in the other 2 boxes. Don't forget the variable. So the variable in this case is a Q, because that's what's in the middle. And then the order doesn't matter, so put it in however you want to put it in. Horizontal common factor. So again, what can I take out? I can take out a 5 because it's common in the numbers, and I can take out a Q. And then 5Q times something is 20Q squared, so I'm missing a 4Q. This is a listening check. Shade in the box with 20Q squared where my finger is. Then blank times 4Q is 8Q, so I'm missing it's negative 8Q, so it's negative 2. 5Q times something is negative 5Q, so that has to be negative 1. Use that to check the last box. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2, so we are all good. So your answers are 5Q minus 2 and 4Q minus 1. That's pretty much it. I'm just going to do one more example that has a really long, like finding the 2 numbers, because you're going to have to do this without a calculator. So let's say you had 33U squared minus 37U plus 10. So again, you would draw your 2 by 2 box. This is a listening check. Underline 33U squared. First number in the first square, last number in the last square, then you're finding the 2 variables. So 33 times 10 is 330, and then negative 37. So I need 2 numbers that multiply 330 and add to negative 37. So we start breaking this down. So I'm actually going to break this down all the way to 20, because I'm not sure what number I need. and then I'm just going to work from there. This is a listening check. Circle 20, circle 20. So 1 times what? 1 times 330 is 330. 2 times half of 330 is 150 and 15, so 165. This is a listening check. Circle 2. All right. Now remember, just like we did before, you take a pizza, you cut it in half, and you got, half of it. You cut it in half again, you've got 4 pieces. So if I take 165 and cut it in half, I got 4 pieces. But because it's not even, I can't cut it in half, so 4 doesn't exist. If I cut 4 in half again, I'm going to get 8 pieces. That means 8 doesn't exist because 4 doesn't exist. If I cut 8 pieces in half, I'm going to get 16 pieces, which means 16 doesn't exist because 8 doesn't, and then 32 and so forth. 3 going to 330, we'll just check. If you add 3 plus 3 plus 0, you're going to get 6. So yes, 3 goes into 6, therefore 3 goes into 330. So for this one, I'm just going to know that it's 110 because I know that. And then again, so you take a pizza, you cut it into 3 parts. If you cut half of those 3 parts, you're going to get 6 parts. So take half of 110 and you'll get the answer for 6. So half of 110 is 55. Alright, then take half of 6 parts, you'll get the answer when you take half. So half of 6 is 12. So half of 55 doesn't exist because it's an odd number. Which means half of 12, which would be 24, I guess I don't need it, would also not exist. 5 goes into 66 times, and again this is multiplication times. Then half of 5 is what, 10, so half of 66 is 33, so that gives me the answer for 10. Half of 10 is 20, but that's odd, so 20 doesn't exist. So I go to 7. Alright, with this one I just actually have to just do the long division. So when I do the long division with 7, I see that, see, it's not even going to go, so I can stop right there. 7 doesn't exist. Then remember, half of 7 pieces would be what, 14. So if 7 doesn't exist, 14 doesn't exist. And then half of 14 pieces again would be like 28, and I don't do that. Alright, moving on to the next one, 9. Well, I can know 9 doesn't exist, which means 18 doesn't exist, and so forth. 9 doesn't exist because 3 plus 3 is 6, and 9 doesn't go. So do 11. 11 is going to be 3 and add the 0, so 30. Half of 11 will give me 22. So half of 30 is 15. That will give me the answer for 22. And the whole time I'm checking, oh, there it is. I'm checking to get to negative 37. That's the one that it's going to be. So negative and negative is the signs. And that's going to multiply positive 330 and add up to negative 37. So put it in the blanks, order doesn't matter. Find the horizontal greatest common factor, which is going to be 11u. And then ask 11u times something is 33u squared. It has to be 3u. Something times 3u is negative 15u. It has to be negative 5. 11u times something is negative 22u, so it has to be negative 2. And then use that to check the last box. Negative 5 times negative 2 is positive 10, and we're good to go. So those answers are 11u minus 5 and 3u minus 2. And that's factoring made easy. Now we're going to look at quadratic formula in the next video, and it goes right underneath in that space. Again, if you need an extra page, just go ahead and make it. I squeeze mine all in. So check out the next video.